Please subscribe.
You'd be excused for pronouncing the 2020 Subaru Legacy dreary or unsatisfying, yet there's a whole other world to this AWD medium-sized vehicle than meets the eye. Under the 2020 Legacy's marginally developed plan, the new car packs a huge amount of goodness, including another mixed-media framework and improved suspension, in addition to the arrival of a turbocharged motor alternative, and we have track-tried execution numbers. The 2020 Subaru Legacy's down-to-business look uncovers its advantage when you step inside. There's a lot of room paying little heed to where you sit, and the upstanding profile and far-reaching glass region make for amazing perceivability. Got stuff to pull? Forget about it. The Legacy has a monstrous trunk and part-collapsing back seats to oblige long or cumbersome things. Both of our analyzers included top-notch materials. The dim and dark two-tone material upholstery in the Sport felt solid, and the differentiating red sewing on the seats looks appealing. Our Touring XT analyzer's dark and caramel Nappa calfskin inside gives an upscale look that news editorial manager Alex Nishimoto called lavish for the class. Minimal outside commotion enters the lodge even at interstate rates, making the Legacy an extraordinary long-separation cruiser. A refreshed 2.5-liter Level 4 with 182 horsepower and 176 pounds-feet of torque combined to a CVT comes standard in the 2020 Subaru Legacy. As in different vehicles that utilization the equivalent powertrain like the Forester and Outback, it's scarcely enough power, driving the CVT work twofold time. Accordingly, the Legacy takes 8.1 seconds to hit 60 miles per hour, that is a large portion of a second more slow than the Bass Motor Camry and Accord from a late 2017 examination. However, of course, just the Subaru offers all-wheel drive, and it's standard. The 260 horsepower 2.4-liter Turbo 4 in the AWD Legacy XT is a note for the 2.0 seconds snappier to 60 miles per hour, all things being equal, at 6.1 seconds to 60 miles per hour. That is a touch more slow than the FWD Accord 2.0T, 5.7 seconds, and FWD Camry V6, 5.8 seconds. Numerous staff members, nonetheless, noticed that the CVT doesn't fill in as easily in the turbo motor. Motortrend en Español overseeing manager Miguel Cortina saw that between the turbo slack and the CVT, the Legacy XT doesn't respond as fast as it ought to for passing, combining, and quickening from a stop. The 2020 Legacy Sport and Touring XT halted from 60 miles per hour in 127 and 128 feet, separately. We presume the tight all-season tires are mostly to fault for the long braking separations. On the taking care of front, the Legacy Sport completed the Figure 8 course in 28.3 seconds with a 0.59 grams normal. The Legacy XT is a second speedier with a 0.64 grams normal. Those numbers put the Legacy in accordance with most medium-sized cars aside from the Honda Accord, which has better grasped by and large taking care of. Out and about, the 2020 Subaru Legacy dazzled us with its wonderful suspension alignment. The suspension is entirely fabulous, Detroit manager Elise Apridal opined. On undulations and harsh asphalt, this is entirely unflappable. With its standard all-wheel drive framework, the 2020 Legacy is steady through corners. Well-controlled body movements give the driver more certainty. Simply don't push the vehicle excessively hard, or it'll default to understeer and furrow into corners. Controlling feels increasingly disengaged, particularly contrasted with the Honda Accord and Mazda 6, further featuring the Legacy's attention on comfort. Alongside its Outback SUV kin, the Legacy presents the most recent rendition of Subaru's Starlink infotainment interface. On higher trims, you can settle on another picture-arranged touchscreen with huge symbols. Tragically, the framework's response times are moderate, and utilizing it progressing removes your consideration from driving. I like the 11.6 touchscreen, which looks premium for a vehicle like the Legacy. Be that as it may, when you start utilizing it, you see a ton of defects, Cartina said. You need to truly push on the symbols and be extremely exact. Other staff members likewise grumbled about key capacities being covered in submenus, so it sets aside some effort to change the settings for things like driver help includes the motor stop, turnover framework, and atmosphere controls. Restricted and touring models additionally accompany a 12-speaker Harman Kardon sound framework that gives extraordinary compared to other listening encounters in the portion on account of its clearness and adjusted sound dissemination. Subaru's EyeSight driver help suite comes standard on every one of the 2020 Legacy models. On higher trims, it's extended to incorporate back-programmed crisis braking, vulnerable side observing, and back cross-traffic alert. The suite works precisely on well-stamped streets and clear conditions. Be that as it may, it gets unpredictable when path lines vanish or in foul climate. Subaru's inventive, minimal-effort EyeSight framework is beginning to arrive at the cut-off points of its capacity and is currently discernibly behind other driver help frameworks as far as execution in certain zones, Global Authority boss Angus Mackenzie noted. Different staff members griped that the path-focusing capacity skips the vehicle between the lines at that point all of a sudden deactivates and sends you into another path while playing a lively ring. The 2020 Subaru Legacy is an all-climate fair-size vehicle that grasps sober-mindedness. Indeed, even with the XT's turbocharged motor, the Legacy doesn't have energetic aspirations. It's an agreeable cruiser. With its improved arrangements and frame tuning, the 2020 Subaru Legacy presently has more extensive intrigue. It's never again only for SUV disinclined buyers living in districts with four seasons. Regardless of whether you live in a spot like Los Angeles, the Legacy's mix of reasonableness and solace stays alluring, particularly in case you're searching for an everyday driver that can serve as a periodic excursion warrior.